evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 23, DJI status in the USA. Hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday evening. It is a great evening because last night, my Florida Panthers pounded the Edmonton Oilers 6-1. And yours truly and my better half will be there for Game 4 on Thursday night down in Sunrise, Florida. So go Cats, go, all right? Bonus points for those of you that root for the Cats. That's all I'm going to say here. Okay, let's see who we got here. Captain Ray is here. Joe's here. Thumb Drone is here. Drone Shots, Jody. Akarasha, Warren, welcome. Waypoint New England, Trini, welcome. Good to see you. Drone LM is here. Richard is here. Art's here. Welcome, Art. Welcome, Richard. Thomas Baker, welcome. Alvin Prather, welcome. MHM Photography, welcome. Johnny is here. Casey Crime Fighter, welcome, my friend. IR Drone KC is here. All right, full house tonight. Got a lot to talk about. Oh, yeah, look at my forehead. It's cleaning the shower Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Okay. Being a good husband, doing my duty, okay? And my head nicked the corner. We have a glass shower, and we got to clean it every day. I mean, you get water spots. We have hard water down here. You don't want to mess around with it. So we have ledges on the outside, and of course, it's a corner. It's like, I was cleaning, wasn't looking. Bam. It was bled pretty good for a little bit, but got some Band-Aids on there, Neosporin, and it's scabbed over and really can't tell. So yeah. I learned my lesson. Okay. It's like every time I'm bending over now, I'm like double, triple checking where my head is and all that kind of good stuff. Josh, welcome. Good to see you tonight. Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't so much fun. So on the teeth front, coming up on week number 4 this week. At times my temps, I don't feel my temps up top at all. The bottom ones kind of at times feel a little big, if there is such a thing as that. And I have to brush them differently than I'm going to brush my permanents. One of the things is I have to pull my lips and brush around. Yeah, you still got to brush these. And then instead of a water pick, because it's too strong, I can't use that. They give me, it looks like a syringe with a bent nozzle at the end. And what it is it's kind of like what they do at the dentist office, but it's very low pressure. But boy, oh boy, it really works at cleaning food particles out. I know this is all stuff you guys wanted to know here. So, but no, that's going well. And then I'm rinsing with salt water every day. That's going as well. I have my next checkups July 2nd, and it's just literally a checkup. Oh, yeah. I went to have them snip the stitches, okay? When they did that, they had to use tweezers to hang on to the stitch, the technician did. It was kind of uncomfortable. Let me put it to you that way. It was about 40 minutes in the chair, and it was, yeah, I was very ready to leave and be done for that with the day, but she snipped all the exposed stitches that she could. Next one's just a checkup in August. It's going to be about a couple hour appointment where what they're going to do is there's a scanner, and it looks like a long curling iron kind of a thing. That's the best way I can describe it. And it's plastic, and they go over all the areas of your mouth, and they 3D scan it. And then they're going to take the panoramic x-ray. They want to check to see how the implants are doing, because weeks 3 to 7 are real critical with that. They can end up playing. Welcome, Fly Guy Merrill. Thanks for thank you, Alvin. I appreciate that. No, not really. MHM, not really pain so much. It's sore sometimes. And like I said, I feel these, and it just I'm used to the ones up top. I don't have any problem with that. So ones on the bottom, and Valerie's kind of said she thinks the ones on the bottom are a little big, but I think they're okay. But remember, again, with these are for show, not for go, meaning there's no chewing. So I'm still on a soft food diet. I found something. Our local grocery store, Publix, who I work for, they have I've been getting pieces of fresh salmon, and I've never cooked salmon before in my life. And I found a on the stovetop, put it in a pan with some Pam and some water. Put some seasoning. I have Lowry lemon pepper seasoning. Put it on there. 4 minutes on each side. Gets to 145. It's done. Tastes fantastic. It breaks apart in your mouth. So it's a great way of getting some protein in. And then I have green beans, which are very easily, I can mash those up real easy. So plus, if I wanted to do mashed potatoes, but I'm a little over mashed potatoes right now. So, and then my between meal snack. Listen to this, okay? In the morning, I get coffee cake from Starbucks. It works. It's easy to eat. But my between meal snack is Publix sells lemon loaf. It's cake, lemon cake, and that's very easy to go down. There's no hard pieces with that at all. So all in all, you've heard enough about me. Hope you guys are doing oatmeal. Yeah, and I was cautioned about oatmeal. See, one of the things is with these temps, food gets caught real easy with them. And oatmeal is, while I would love to have some right now, it would get caught in there. So they said grits would be good. Yeah, miso honey glazed salmon. Yes, sir, Warren. Yeah. I just used lemon and this lemon pepper seasoning and salt and pepper, and it tasted fantastic. It was really good. And it's a perfect size. $6.99 for a piece. It's already, you go to the seafood counter at Publix. So that's working real well. Got a lot to talk about tonight with everything. And what I want to start off with is we did see, let me get this article up here. Today's what? Yeah. A new drone came out for DJI today, believe it or not. Let's take a look at it here. Of course, it's an enterprise drone, and you guys probably knew this. It's the Matrice 400. Redefines enterprise drone performance with extended flight and advanced sensing here. This thing is loaded to the gills and then some. Achieves up to 59 minutes of forward flight and 53 minutes of hovering, even with a payload. IP55 rating, ensures reliability in extreme conditions from -4 degrees Fahrenheit to 122 degrees Fahrenheit, making it ideal for harsh environments. Drone can take off from stationary vessels and land on moving ships, expanding its utility for coastal operations. There you go. Let's see what else. Advanced obstacle avoidance for complex environments. Equipped with LiDAR, MM-wave radar, and full-color low-light fisheye sensors, the Matrice 400 navigates challenging terrains. It speeds up to 56 miles an hour. That's pretty doggone good. According to the drone maker, it even detects small obstacles like high-voltage power lines in low-light conditions, critical for nighttime inspections, or wind turbines, enabling safe returns from evaluated sites without pre-updated coordinates. The precision enhanced operational safety for tasks like infrastructure monitoring. Robust video transmission. The drone's O4 Enterprise Enhanced Video Transmission System, 224.9 miles using a 10-antenna aircraft design and high-gain phased array antenna on the remote controller. The built-in relay module allows one Matrice 400 to extend the range of another in obstructed environments like mountain ranges. With dual DJI cellular dongle 2 units, the Matrice 400 supports sub-2 G frequency band, seamlessly switching to stronger carrier network for reliable connectivity in both urban and remote settings. Intelligent features, automated tools like smart detection, which identifies vehicles and subjects in thermal mode, and smart AR projection, which displays power lines and landmarks on the controller for easier navigation. Real-time terrain follow maintains consistent ground clearance in any direction. Payload flexibility for diverse missions. There's a bunch of different Zenmuse options here. Industry impact and regulatory considerations. And there's a boatload of pictures here. But one of the things that I didn't see here, and I'm really kind of curious, and I may have to email. Hey, Bill, welcome. Thanks for stopping by tonight. One thing I'd like to find out, is this available in the United States? I don't know. Piston in my chair. I'm in dire need of getting a new chair, and that's going to happen when I get my bonus at the end of the year. So, yeah, I'm putting up with this chair. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm really curious about that. Oh wow, that's MHM. That's great. I'm glad you were able to find one, because Ron told me about this, and I looked out there. Amazon has one listed for $1,200, but delivery is not until December 29th. But with Amazon, see, it's like Adorama and B&H, you know, you can't even really pre-order it right now. Maybe you could, but it's like, I don't want to spend $1,200 and have to wait 7 months to get something. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm at with that. But that's good. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, telling us about that, MHM. That's great. I'm glad you're enjoying that. There he is. How are you, Ron?
Hello, Bill. I'm doing well tonight, but probably not doing as well as the Florida Panthers. I believe it was a 6-1 game last night.
6-1. They had 11 power plays. There were, I'd never seen that many fights in a game, and we'll talk about that later. They got under the Oilers' skin last night.
Well, I could probably show you some Broad Street Bully highlights from the 70s where you could see more fights.
Well, yeah, and we'll I'll digress just a quick second.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Covering the Matrice 400, and you know, going over the specs and everything, and it sounds great. But Ron, I didn't hear anything about availability in the United States for that.
I was about to ask you. Sometimes the enterprise drones aren't sold on the website like our consumer drones. So I didn't know if the U.S. dealers had that drone or not available for
sale. Yeah, you're right. It's not available on all there is when you go on to DJI's page is you fill out a form and they refer you probably to a dealer is I think what happens with that.
Right.
Because I don't think you can order it directly from DJI. I think they're sent to the dealers and you get them from dealers. So
that's the way the system's run for a long time. I mean, things change every day now, but that's the way it had run for a long time.
Yeah. And if anybody knows in the chat, you just, post it in there. Just kind of curious as to if this is, part of what we're going to find out. And we're going to take a deep dive into DJI and everything.
And but also, if anybody in the chat is not from the U.S., if they can look from their if they can look at the DJI website coming from another country, will they see any difference in availability that we'd have? Like some of our Canadian friends. I'd like to know what they see when they visit the website to look at the Matrice 400.
Well, okay. Thank you, Dre. Recovery Drones. Steel City is taking orders. Florida Drone Supply has it, and Drone Nerds have it. Okay, thank you, Dre. Appreciate that. Yeah, so it is available. That's very interesting.
Now we had Ryan Loretto last night, and he thought it may be available. That's what he thought last night.
Yeah, and it's really kind of interesting here that it's an enterprise level drone and it is available here in the United States, yet still, we'll the Mavic 4 Pro.
I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, but maybe the enterprise people aren't as put off by tariffs as a consumer would be because they're buying for a business. So, tariffs don't mean as much if you're buying for a business. I mean, there's always tax write-offs and stuff like that a business has that an individual doesn't.
Exactly. Found this today too. Hover Air X1 drone combo gets 25% Father's Day discount plus free battery. You can get the Fly More combo for $299 instead of $399. And it's a serious value for a drone that's been called your personal flying cameraman by users and tech reviewers alike. The Hover Air X1 stands out for its hassle-free, hands-free operation and ultra-portable design. It weighs 125 grams and fits in your pocket. So
And that's the older one, not the two new
Right.
ones that got released as well. Now, Bill, I was going to make the Drone Nation deal today last night, but I went to check the link last night and it was no longer on sale. I went back to normal prices. Did it go back on again as of today? Because as of like last night, it was no longer at that sale price.
It shows on the sale price right now, $299.
Yeah, so they must have. I don't know why, but it was off yesterday.
Yeah, I opened up the Amazon site. It has $299 on
there. I mean, it didn't make any sense to end the Father's Day sale a week before Father's Day.
A week before Father's Day. Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. I mean, it's a week before Father's Day, and you're ending the sale. That doesn't make any sense at all. So, yeah. Well, in some other news, as far as a product availability, we're finding out a little bit more about a brand new product from DJI that they've had in development for years, the DJI Romo vacuum robot. Launch signals drone makers' bold move into home robotics, okay? And it looks like there's the app for that. Let's see here. Integrates vacuuming and mopping capabilities, leveraging the company's expertise in advanced navigation and obstacle avoidance. Leaked images suggest a sleek design with a large docking station, likely enabling self-emptying and cleaning functions. When DJI has not officially confirmed specs, industry insiders speculate Romo will feature precise mapping and smart controls similar to those found in high-end competition. This could include room-specific cleaning schedules and pet detection, enhancing its appeal for automated home cleaning. And there it looks like there's part of the app right there. And they're talking about industry implications and everything there. But one of the things I can tell you, after having a Roomba, I had one myself. Now this was probably I'm going to say about 10 years ago or so. The only way it knew where to go was you had these little beacons that you would put all over the house. And really what they were barriers. It would hit the barrier and then flip around, do a 180 and go in the other direction. And it was a haphazard pattern. It really didn't make any sense. But back in the day, those didn't empty themselves and they would get filled up pretty quickly. All right. And the other thing with that was we have an area rug because our last house, we had wood floors. Here we have tile floors. It's fine on the tile floor, but trying to jump up over that carpet, it always had a difficult time doing that. Almost like it was an obstacle and would avoid it. So
I've never had experience with one of these vacuum cleaners, but so you think there's room for DJI to innovate in this space?
Yeah. The couple things that they did mention here, self-emptying, that's fantastic because the size of that, it's not like a regular vacuum cleaner. It can't hold a lot in there. So it has to empty itself. All right. The other thing is it would run out, it would go back if it was low on battery to charge itself. The base unit, it's a docking station. When it goes in there, it ends up charging itself, which is a good thing. But the other thing that we found too was the bristles on there, they would need cleaned frequently, at least every other week. You would need to go on there and remove hair or whatever debris that would get caught on there. So there's a lot of self-maintenance to it. Now, I know they've improved them over the years. Battery life's been better. The programming on it has been better as well, too. And I think obstacle sensing has been better on it. So I think DJI knew these challenges going in.
Right. Either I froze or Bill froze. I think I may have froze Bill, so I don't know if I should go back out and come back in again. Oh, Bill froze. I did not freeze. Thank you, JAA Recovery Drone. So Bill was finished his thought on a vacuum cleaner here, and I think unlike drones, DJI is going to a crowded space of these automated vacuum cleaners. So, Bill, you're back with us?
Yeah, I'm back now.
I was just making a comment that unlike drones, DJI is kind of entering a crowded field here. There's many different companies making these automated vacuum cleaners now. So they really have to stand out and be priced right because, again, they're going into a space where there's many competitors.
Right. There's a lot of competitors. But what would be nice about this is I think this could get past FCC regulations as long as there's no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth with it. I think there's probably Bluetooth, but that would be with the app. So, but you know, it might be a possible item to get around a potential ban. But
FCC
we're
approval. Hey, I'm gonna address Flat Guy Morel said in chat. Anybody purchased the Mavic 4 Pro from Amazon? The only one I saw on Amazon was going for $5,000. I mean, I would like to get a Mavic 4 Pro, but I don't want to pay, you know, that much of a Amazon markup to get it. Of course, it wasn't sold by DJI or Amazon, a third party seller vendor.
Right. We're gonna end just one more thing. We're gonna talk, and then we're gonna start taking a deep dive into DJI. Now, DJI is also marketing DJI's avionics motor set to dominate e-bike market at Eurobike 2025. It's not a bike itself, but they have built a motor battery combination for bikes here. And it's on the Amflow e-bike is what it's going to be on. And it's going to be $6,700. That's pretty pricey for an electronic bicycle right there.
And not even the whole bicycle, just parts of it.
That's just parts of it. And to get the whole thing is $13,200. So yeah, that's going to be real interesting to see how that how that goes. So, but I wanted to go ahead and get that covered here. Now, we're going to start taking a look at.
I know very little about electronic bicycles. I really have no thoughts or comment on this.
Yeah, I don't either. I just wanted to get that out there in case anybody heard something about that. And again, you know, I post these articles out on Bill Journey or your Facebook group, so you guys are free to take a look at it here. I'm starting this with DJI status in the USA, and one of the things that I wanted to do with this here, the first thing that I wanted to do is we're going to go out and we're going to take a look at DJI's website live. I didn't want to bookmark it and go out there, but I wanted to kind of share this with you guys, and we're going to take a look at some things here. Now, this is nice because this actually, now let's take a look. I'm going to take a look. I'm just going to punch in the Mavic 3 right here.
Okay.
Mavic 3 Pro, DJI RC, that's out of stock. Mavic 3 Pro Fly More Combo, DJI RC Pro, that is in stock. So I'm going to go back here. Let's take a look at the Air 3S. Okay, DJI Air 3S with the RC-N2, that's out of stock. But the Air 3S Fly More Combo Lite DJI RC-2 is in stock.
And Bill, that's very common lately, that the only package you can get is the more expensive ones.
Right. Let's take a look. Now, they're not even showing, if you take a look right here, this is the Mini 4 Pro. They're not even showing that.
And it hasn't been available for quite a while from DJI.
Yeah, and it's showing out of stock right here. So, so this was a live look here. I wanted to go ahead and first do this to show you guys what's up with that. Now, going back to, and while
sorry, folks, I think Bill may have froze again. Yeah, Fly Guy Merrill says, I don't need it, but I want it. Yeah. Mark Fisher's little saying from last week. KC Cronfire says it's crazy because you can barely find DJI drones anywhere in America that they are available. Then if you find them, you have to get the most expensive package or face the markup. Yeah, that is very true, Casey. That's what I'm seeing when I'm out there looking around too. Sorry, my voice is fading. Hopefully Bill's getting back in again here. So yeah. Ordering DJI from anybody but kind of resellers that are marketing the packages up is kind of tough nowadays. Welcome back.
And what I was going to do before I got cut out here And let's see if I can try this again. DJI Mavic 4 Pro firmware update elevates drone performance. Now, it's one of those ones that say fix some known issues, but from what I saw on out there, there were some specific things that somebody had mentioned overseas that it fixed. But you know, I wanted to put this out there first of all to let everybody know about this, because I know we have some friends over in the UK and overseas about this, and I'm not sure if it's available where you're at or not yet, but I wanted to let everybody know about this as well. But I think, you know, and Ron and I had a little bit of a discussion about this last week too, and I think, and Eddie Nunez pointed out, State Farm will not insure a drone if you buy a drone overseas. They have to be purchased here in the United States. So, but conversely, I think Asurion would back something like that. Asurion is, they cover my cell phones. I purchased them, and they're the plan that you can get when you purchase an item out on Amazon. They'll back that up. So, I think you probably would be able to do something like that. And you know,
I heard there are other options besides State Farm that will insure the Mavic 4 Pro. So,
yeah. So, and while, you know, we still don't know, there's still no official word from DJI about the Mavic 4 Pro here in the United States. And what really kind of makes this a little funny, Ron, is, you know, right after the Mavic 4 Pro comes out, we start getting rumors and we see some leaks on the Mini 5 Pro. That's coming out as well too. And it's like, okay, this is all well and good, but we can't get a Mavic 4 Pro. And now you're telling us about a Mini 5 Pro coming out, which we probably won't be able to get as well. So, you know, it's kind of.
Let me put this thought out there, Bill. Maybe the less expensive products, where they won't see the, you know, I mean, the percentage is tariffs, but the money won't look as bad if you throw a 30% tariff on a cheaper product than would on a product that costs over $2,000. You think, like, say, like the DJI, the cameras that are supposed to come out, you think the cameras will still make it out even if they have the tariff pricing, because they still won't look like they're super unaffordable even with the tariffs on them.
Right. Like the Osmo Action 6, the Osmo 360, those won't cost that much. And even if you think about it, the Mini 5 Pro, you know, it might be maxed out about maybe $1,100, $1,200. And that's just, I'm just throwing that out there, that number out there.
Yeah.
And a tariff on something like that, it, you know, it might be $150, $200. You know, that's something I think most consumers would be like, okay, I really want to get it. It's been, the Mini 4 has been a great drone. I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, just swallow hard and pay that extra to get something like that, versus going up to a Mavic 4 Pro where it's, you know, $2,300, $3,000. You know, you start to think maybe it's $300 extra, $400 extra, and it's like,
yeah, and maybe DJI would be even willing to eat the tariffs on the cheaper products like the Action cameras, the 360 cameras, but they're not willing to eat the tariffs on, like you said, basically a $3,000 drone combo.
Yeah. And, you know, MHM, we don't know. We're hopeful it will. Right. Yeah. I mean, think,
you know, you think if the Mavic 4 can't come out, why will the Mini 5 come out? Again, unless it's all about the money on the tariffs, they'll you know, they'll figure people are willing to pay, they're willing to eat the Mini prices. Again, we just totally don't know, because we don't know why the Mavic 4 Pro is not on sale in the US. We can only guess tariffs, or they think it can't get through customs in the US, but there's no official word from DJI, from the US government. This is all just guesswork.
Yeah, and exactly, Ron. And you know, I've gone out there within the past week and pinged DJI, and they keep getting the canned response back from them.
Yeah,
nice, but it's a canned response, and it's pretty much the same thing that they said. Thank you for your interest in DJI products. You know, at this time, it is not available in the United States. Please stay tuned to our website and out here on X for all the latest information, is basically what the message always is.
Now, Ryan's opinion was last night, if the U.S. and China can hammer out these trade deals that they're trying to do right now, if they hammer out a trade deal, he believes the Mavic 4 Pro will be released if they hammer out the tariff trade deal.
And I agree with that. I really think if they can work that out, I think that's what's going to happen here. Now, with the Mini 5 Pro and MHM, and we did talk about that, is a September release, and that's what everything that we have heard, and I think Jasper and Igor have kind of confirmed that as well, that's when something like that would release. So and by the way, as much as we have hyped up the Mavic 4 Pro, all right, and its popularity, and it is a popular drone, the Mini 5 Pro by far and away is going to really, it'll probably sell twice as many
easy, Bill, probably 3 or 4 times if it actually gets released.
Easily. You're right, Ron. Absolutely.
Exactly. So that's the drone. If that drone doesn't come out, that's going to hurt more people than the Mavic 4 Pro does.
Right. Right. And that's on my list because I sold my Mini 4 Pro about 6 or 7 months ago. So I've been kind of waiting for a Mini 5 Pro. So that's going to be on my list. And
here's a little thing. I don't know if you saw Rick Smith put a Mini 4 Pro video out, either last night or this morning. I watched it, and he was talking about how good the Mini 4 Pro still is. But at one point he said about like, don't wait for the Mini 5. He said, I don't know. He said, who knows when it's coming out? He said, I'm not under NDA on that, on the Mini 5 Pro, so he can say it. So in other words, somebody that gets all the drones, he's not even, he can even talk about the Mini 5 Pro because it's not even out to the testers like him yet.
Exactly. Now, I do want to go ahead and cover, there's a couple of articles here. The first one is DJI defends its drones, Trump tightens U.S. rules. And we're going to take a look at some of these things here. Key highlights from the executive orders: establishment of a federal task force to restore American airspace sovereignty. All right. Assess and address threats posed by drones. Enhanced airspace regulations. The FAA is directed to expedite rulemaking process to restrict drone flights over sensitive sites. Promotion of domestic drone manufacturing. Federal agencies are instructed to prioritize procurement of U.S. manufactured drones, particularly those from Chinese companies like DJI. The move is intended to strengthen the domestic drone industry and secure supply chains. Advancement of beyond visual line of sight operations. The FAA is tasked with issuing a proposed rule within 30 days to enable routine BVLOS operations for commercial and public safety purposes. Integration of AI and regulatory process to streamline the approval and certification process. The FAA will deploy AI tools to assist in the review of drone waiver applications. Okay. DJI has a response here, and you guys are welcome to read through that. Again, these articles are out on Bill the Drone Reviewer Facebook group and page. But, the gist of this is, DJI has proven time and time again, even independent audits conducting that there have been no security, no data breach issues. There's nothing out there. And that's why they're welcoming an audit by the federal government, one of the, it's the CIA, NSA, whoever, to go out there, take a look at things. And they're not going to find anything because there's nothing to find. And that's why I think they're kind of they were dragging their heels through this. And if anything, Trump.
Uh-oh, folks. He froze again. Must be really having internet issues down there. So I think Bill was about to comment. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe he's back. I think he was going to, comment on that the one bill the Congress put in that mandated somebody from one of the federal agencies had to, take apart one of the DJI drones and see if there's anything in there, related to spying or such or whatever. And from what I read in the executive orders, Trump didn't speak to that one way or another. Or the executive orders didn't speak one way or the other, whether he was going to make that happen or not, that inspection. So we're still kind of unknown there. Bill, welcome back.
Yeah, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing because I think for some reason it's not liking that. All this happened when I started to share. So We're
Okay.
just kind of go with things. Now there was a
I
similar
kind of
article.
finish up on your thought about that the bill that Congress had that mandated that one of the federal agencies review DJI drones to see if there's any issues with them concerning safety and whatnot. And the executive order doesn't really address that at all directly, from what I see in there.
There was another article out on, I think, what is called Digital Camera World, and there were 5 points on this one. Make temporary flight restrictions part of drone geofencing. Number 2, provide drone identification signals to law enforcement, including potentially private critical infrastructure owners. Number 3, kickstarts a potential law allowing for BVLOS. We just found out about that. Use AI to speed up commercial drone waivers. We just found out about that. Prioritize American-made drones. Kind of similar with everything right there. So, while things are in motion regarding this, and I think Marcus stated it real well in his video, they did it. And, I did drop a link in last week's video about that. And I do suggest that you watch that when you get a chance. He spelled it out pretty clearly that one of the things that Trump did was, he's forcing that one of the alphabet agencies to go ahead and take a look at DJI to do this now, because they have kind of been dragging their heels. And we all know what would happen if they would just let it go through the end of the year. It would automatically become law, the process with DJI, and it would be banned for a period of time. So, it's a good thing. So, it's kind of in limbo because we haven't heard a lot of things about that. And I know, Ron, I know you guys talked about last night that they changed that House bill because that was the old session of Congress and it was a different bill number. And there's a new bill number, and Ron dropped it in the show notes for Drone Nation last night. So if you're interested in contacting your congressman or senator, go out to the show notes from Drone Nation for last night and take a look at that and mention that specific bill number to your congressman or United States senator to talk about that. And I'm sure that, the organization Vic Moss runs, I'm sure they have information about that as well, too. And I know some people have said, what good is it to go out there and to do that? One of the things that I read, and I think this is important for all you guys, is, they just don't necessarily, they don't take a look at each individual request. They do acknowledge that they get them, but they don't take a look. One of the things that they look at is the numbers that come through there. And the higher the numbers that come through there, that means the more that the representative or senator will pay attention to things like that. So keep sending these requests, keep doing that. And one of the most effective ways in doing it, I know it's real easy to use a cut and paste and get out to your email or use that form, which is good. And it's a good thing to do, but it's even better to call and talk to a person. If all they have is a machine, leave a message, but actually talk to a person, because that way it gets registered, it gets logged, you get logged in, my name and address, I'm a constituent, absolutely. So, it's still a good thing to do that kind of information. I think, Ron, that this trade agreement, I think it's going to be hammered out because a lot of countries over in Europe, they have redone their trade agreements with the United States as well. And it puts us in a more favorable position. In other words, getting money into the United States and less money going out, which is more money here, which is a good thing. Okay. And I think that's what the goal is here with China as well, too, because it's really hurt China, this trade agreement with them. And again, I'm not being political here. I'm being more economic here. All right. It's been hurting them more than it's hurt us. And they are at a point that they can't afford not to sell products overseas. I mean, take a look at it. Both my laptops made over in mainland China by Hewlett Packard. All right. Our phones, Apple phones, they're made over in China. A lot. They are the number one manufacturer of EVs in the world, electronic vehicles. Okay. Nobody, even more than Tesla with Elon. Okay. They make more EVs than Tesla does out there. A lot of products that we get, as I've already alluded to, a lot of ham radios. they're made over in China as well too. So, it really has slowed that pipeline down and getting things over here to the US, but it also, in terms of it's having an economic impact in China, which they can't afford. So they're going to come to some kind of an agreement here. So I think there's some good news on the horizon. So I think we just kind of have to just, be a little bit more patient with things right here.
Yeah, and the problem is, Bill, we think it may be the tariffs causing the non-release of the DJI Mavic 4 Pro, but we don't know that for sure. We don't know for sure if the tariffs. We don't know if it's for sure if it's his bill in Congress. We don't know if it's that other thing that Congress did where they won't let the drones through customs because of the Uyghurs. We don't know which one is the cause, or maybe all three of them are working together. We just don't really know is the problem. They could work out the greatest trade agreement ever, and we still may not get the drones.
That's true. That's very true.
That's the unfortunate thing is there's so many kind of hits going against DJI right now. We don't know which one's causing I'll call it the fatal blow that somebody said in the chat. Even we had trouble getting the Neo, we had trouble getting the Flip or whatever. It's just it's not just the Mavic 4 Pro. We've had availability issues going back to the fall last year. Yeah.
This has been kind of ongoing, and Ron brings up a good point because they talked about it, and they kind of said, oh, it's the situation with the Uyghurs and the forced labor and everything. And that was proved to be kind of false, because where DJI makes their drones is in Shenzhen in Malaysia, and there's no Uyghurs there.
I think Ryan mentioned last night that the lawsuit, when DJI filed their lawsuit, months ago, it was specifically at the Uyghur situation. And of course, that's an ongoing case right now.
Right. And former Attorney General Loretta Lynch is on this, and she's very good.
For DJI, right.
For DJI,
she knows her way around the DC courts.
Exactly. Okay, she's not a stranger to this, and I think, and she knows her law, and that was a good selection by DJI because she's pretty tenacious and a bulldog, and I like that, and I think that's good. That's good for DJI. I mean, they've got a good advocate in her, which I really like. And, we don't know the inner workings and everything that's going on. And, when we're talking here, we're kind of shooting from the hip on this. This is all new to us. Okay. Because as I said, I think I said this last week or the week before, we've never had this happen before. We've never had a drone being released to everywhere in the world except us. All right. So it's a completely different
and for reasons that aren't really explained to us.
Exactly. We don't know all the ins and outs of it. And now one of the other things, and I want to caution you guys on this, okay? When you're buying from somebody overseas, all right, on eBay, I'm gonna use this example. Number one, you're probably going to pay anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 more. Not for tariff's sake. Just they've marked these drones up, okay? And there's no negotiation on these prices. They're all buy it now. It's all there, and there's no auction on these drones, okay? It's all buy it now. It's all these inflated prices, number one. Number two, now I messaged a couple of times this one from Zach had used over in South Korea, and they were telling me there's no additional fees or tariffs on items coming over from South Korea, but it may be different from another country. So say, for instance, you're paying $1,500 over and above for a Mavic 4 Pro. All right. And it comes in, and then you get a notification that you have another $1,500 due for tariffs and customs and things like that coming in here. So now instead of paying $1,500, just $1,500 over, you're paying $3,000 over for something like this. This is just an example here.
Yeah.
I want to make you guys aware of this because it's an unknown. Now, I do know what it's like with South Korea. And, this one said, they've shipped, and Zach said they shipped pretty promptly. He got it within about 10 days, which was great.
And didn't pay any additional tariffs.
Right. He didn't pay anything additional with that, which is good. And Zach, thank you for that. I don't know if you're watching tonight, but thank you for providing that information. It may not be that case in other countries. Okay. I do know I went out to eBay and I've taken a pretty good look out there. There are a lot of resellers from China out there. All right.
Yes.
So I would throw some caution out here. Be very careful and ask questions. Go to the button where it says contact seller. Okay. If you have bought and sold on eBay before, you can do that and you can send them a message. Okay. It's like their emailing system. All right. Now, one of the things that will happen, and this is just a word of caution and warning. Okay. No, don't provide any contact information in there because eBay will block it. Okay. Don't say, oh, you can email me at bill@gmail.com. No, it'll flag it. You can't do anything like that. You can't give any or phone numbers or anything. Okay. It's just for an exchange of information. Ask some questions. Okay. Ask some questions about tariff and customs fees. Do they have them? How long is this going to take to come? Do you provide any warranty with this? I know DJI doesn't. Do you provide an extended warranty through DJI for this? Yes or no? Ask questions. Be smart about this. I mean, if you really want to get a Mavic 4 Pro, but I'm telling you, okay, I know where Ron's at. I know where I'm at, okay, right now. All right. I'm going to wait until the cows come home and it's out on DJI's website. All right. I'm not going to go ahead and go overseas and do this. I don't need it. I don't have a business where I can write this off as an expense saying, I'm going to be providing I'm going to be making that income up for that. All right. I'm not somebody like Ken or Billy or, other ones out there that do this full time. All right. That's not my main income stream. I have a normal.
Yeah. And plus, you're probably like me. I don't want to pay some real high tariff to get it. And then the next day they work out the trade deal and I could get it for a much lower tariff the next day through DJI.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good that's a real good question there, Ron. That's a real good point. I think we need to understand something here with all of this is, we're just again coming out here and we're just kind of shooting from the hip on this again, because this is something that's brand new for us. And we really don't know all the inner workings of everything that's going on right now, and I also want to caution people too. If you don't have to spend an extra $1,500, don't. Okay. I can tell you that right now. Not many of us are in a position where we can afford to spend an extra $1,500 or $2,000 above market price for something like this.
Of course, some of the South Korean sellers, like the one Zach got his from, they were selling the base package for basically $2,200. Now those units are all gone now. They're sold out, but they were selling them basically like with very little tariffs on them.
And Dre, that's a great point here. Okay, that's a great point. Be patient. I mean, that's what I can tell you guys. I mean, I don't want to see you having to spend more money than you have to for these. Okay, I mean, paying list price is hard enough. All right, and we had sticker shock when we saw the Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Pro come out, but it's actual list price. Don't be going out to eat. That's just my personal opinion. If you really have money in your pocket that's burning a hole in it, by all means, go ahead and do it. But my strong recommendation, and I think Ron would agree with me, is be patient and wait. Your Mavic 3, your Mavic 3 Pro, your Air 3S, your Mini 4 Pro is going to do a fine job, and it's something you've been using. So
again, but without the markups or the tariffs, the list price from the Mavic 3 to the Mavic 4 really hasn't gone up all that much if you take away all the tariffs and markups, right, Bill?
That's right. And I think as far as these tariffs and markups are concerned, you know, we kind of have to play it out. Mad Props Media,
and the markups come from scarcity. When a product's hard to get, that's when third-party vendors come in and mark stuff up.
Mad Props Media, I want to let you know I made you a moderator. I haven't been ignoring you. Okay, understand? We try to manage the chat as best as we can. I did add you as a moderator, so you should have a wrench from now on. So I try to be extremely nice to everybody on the show that engages in the chat and is polite and everything. So you do have one right now. I just want to let you know that I did just add you onto that. So I think we hit on a good point a little earlier with the Mini 5 Pro, Ron. I really do think a lot of this is economically driven in terms of the actual cost on things, because it's going to be a lot easier, as we said, if there's a tariff on a Mini 5 Pro, that it would be, easier to pay 150 to 200 over versus 500 or more for like a Mavic 4 Pro kind of a thing. And I think, like we said, I think this is going to be settled by September. So we may see, like in August sometime, we may see the Mavic 4 Pro come out, and then right on its heels, the Mini 5 Pro come out.
Oh, that's not good. Two drones you got to get at the same time, yeah, and we talked about the Mini 5 Pro is not released in the U.S. That may be the line in the sand. That may be, the moment that we're in big trouble. You see Johnny's comment in chat. Johnny says, what can you do with the Mavic 4 that you can't do with your Air 3S? He says, I don't get it. Well, I mean, you can't do that crazy gimbal spin with the Air 3S. Otherwise, I can't, I don't know anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the only thing that's really even piqued my interest right now and that I would consider spending money for would be the RC Pro 2. And I went out there, Ron, it was interesting. I went out to Amazon, like you had told me about there, and it's not available until December 29th. But the problem is you have to pay for it now. There's no they
hold the money for 9 months or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And, I'm like, well, that's all good and it's real nice, but I'm not going to put $1,200 in Amazon's pocket for 9 months and have nothing to show for it, kind of a thing. So that's kind of where that's coming from. But, but it does interest me. And I think reviews I've seen just on the controller itself and how it works seamlessly with the other drones, it's a winner. Okay. And I think it does a great job. And I think that's something that, if you want to do that, try to find one that's closer to $1,200, because I believe that's fairly close to what retail price is on that. So if it's around that kind of a ballpark area, that would be something I would do. Now, I'm not going to go out there right now and get one, but it really does pique my interest more than the Mavic 4 Pro in and of itself does right now. Yeah. Because
and then Amazon, that the control list on Amazon, I believe, is listed for $12.99, which is what we think is the actual price of it, right?
Yeah.
So it's really not marked. It can't get until December, but it's not marked up at least.
Exactly. And that's the one good thing here is that not having it marked up. I mean, that's a good thing, and being able to have that. That's a good deal, Mad Props. That really is.
And so you talk about the controller?
Yeah.
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 And now that's a South Korean one probably then, or international unit.
It probably is. And another thing you kind of have to be careful with is, I know you have the option to change languages there, and it would probably come in another language when you get it initially. So you're going to have to be real careful when you fire it up to get it over to the English language.
Well, you could always do a master reset, and that would take you back to where you have to pick the language like when you first started it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, that's kind of where things are right now with everything with DJI. We're still, nothing's been signed as far as these executive orders have been concerned. I haven't seen any updates on that. And we find anything out, Ron and Marcus will let you know. We'll let you know here on Tuesday night as well too. So stay tuned to us. We're kind of keeping our ear to the ground.
I mean, basically, it wasn't. I'm going to say the executive orders were more positive than they were negative. Again, they didn't really ban DJI drones. That's a positive, and they talked about beyond, flying beyond legal sight being more available. So it was a lot positive there, and just see that the administration was kind of supporting drones. Was a good thing. Now, some negatives, they want more regulation. They talked about more geofencing. So there's positives and negatives to the executive orders bill, but I'm going to say, in my opinion, is more positive than negative. Is that good?
Yeah, I agree. I think there's more positive than negative on there, and kind of stay tuned. Well, I really haven't seen any updates lately from Jasper or from Igor, because I do go out to Twitter every day. It's been kind of inactive, and even on the like Action 6, the Osmo 360, and even the new DJI vacuum cleaner, there really hasn't been a lot more information on that. I mean, it's kind of like there are lulls with this, so a lot of times that's kind of where we're at right now. But stay tuned. We get more information on that, we will let you guys know. Going to close up,
and as we go into the the early part of summer here, that tends to be like kind of a lull in releasing products. You don't see a lot of products released in that end of June, July time frame.
Right.
And anything, not just drones, and anything.
Right. That's a good point, Ron. One of the things I will say is be on the lookout for some Father's Day sales. There may be some good ones coming up, and I'm talking specifically DJI. They usually will have something on sale. So stay tuned for that. I mean, if you're signed up on their email list, they will send that out in an email form. So you want to pay attention to something like that. Before
you close up, Dr. Joseph JAA is in the chat, and he let us know last night on the show that he did get his Air 3S, and he said it arrived in 3 different. Like, he ordered the combo, and he said he got 3 different boxes to complete the combo. And I believe he ordered. He said he ordered directly from DJI.
Wow,
he was able to get his Air 3S.
That's very interesting, because, well, when I got my replacement Air 3S, it came from Canada.
Yeah.
Remember when I was having my issues?
Yeah.
And I got another one from DJI. It came through Canada, and it had a little pamphlet, and it had Canada stamped on it. So it was that was real interesting here. A couple of items of note outside of drone talks. Okay. Thursday night, I'm going to be at Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Valor and I are going down there. And let me put it to you this way. My tickets, I probably could have paid for a Mavic 4 Pro. We did get some decent seats, but parking was astronomical. Parking was $70. Okay.
Wow.
Normally it's $35. It was $70. It's just the name. And you know what? A lot of people don't know this. The NHL sets these prices, including tickets and parking and everything. It's not set by the arena or the parking lots or any of that. It's all done by the NHL. So
you're happy to call the commissioner's office.
In other news, sports news, okay, Aaron Rodgers is officially a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yes.
And you know what he revealed today? He got married. He got married 2 months ago.
Right. No wonder he didn't sign. He was too busy honeymooning. And he's already at the mini camp, right?
He's at the mini camp. He said he's impressed with Will Howard. Will Howard is the quarterback the Steelers drafted from Ohio State. He said he's impressed with him. Ben Roethlisberger said he's impressed with him as well, too. Said he doesn't have the attitude. And I think he was probably talking about the Kenny Pickett attitude.
Or Kenny Pickett.
So that's going to be interesting to see how all that pans out. You know what, Ron? I'm just gonna go on and make a bold prediction here. Okay. Aaron Rodgers is going to win the games he should win against the scrub teams. He'll get them to 8, and he'll get them to the Mike Tomlin nirvana of 8-8, okay, or 9-7. All right.
But what happens when they play the elite teams, though?
Yeah, they'll get their faces. they'll get their butts handed to them in a sling when they play like the Ravens or the Chiefs or the Bills, you know, the elite teams in the league. They'll get smacked around like nobody's business.
Well, all I can say is, you know, with Rogers there and Tomlin and that whole crew, get your popcorn ready this season. It could get interesting, Bill.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think so, John. I think Detroit will be there. I don't think the Steelers. Yeah.
You guys are right. Hey, that would be a story if Roger lead the Steelers to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that really would. That really would.
Yeah, how about Jay? He got the boxes from 3 different countries. Hey, but back to hockey for a second. So the Panthers are up 2-1, right?
Right, they're up 2-1. Last night, the game had more penalties in it than I've seen in any other Stanley Cup Finals game. At least 4 Oilers got game misconducts or 10-minute misconducts last night. And what happened was the Panthers got under their skin, all right? And they became undisciplined, and, you know, they had to kill penalties. And when they're killing penalties, their 2 best players, Draisaitl and McDavid, they don't kill penalties. They're not on the ice, okay? They're trying to prevent goals from being scored. Right. So it was a really, I mean, they put themselves in a really bad position. And, you know, and usually there's only a day gap between like home games, like there was between games 1 and 2. But this week there's a 2-day gap, tonight and tomorrow night, and then they play Thursday. But then they only have 1 day for travel back up to Edmonton because game 5 is going to be Saturday night. And what's interesting is the distance between Fort Lauderdale and Edmonton, it's the longest distance between any 2 NHL cities that are out there.
Wow.
It's a 4.5 hour, 5-hour flight. I mean, it's a long flight. So the players are saying, we're playing a lot of poker, okay, on the flights. So, you know, that's kind of how things are. I like
Dr. Joseph said last night the third period had 120 more penalty minutes.
Yes, it did. It was
so basically the whole third period was the power play then.
Yeah, they had the Panthers had a total of 11 power plays that night. And what they got smart near the end, the last 5-10 minutes, they were rolling the third and the fourth lines. In other words, not their star players were going out on the ice, which was very smart on Florida's coach, Paul Maurice. That was his, oh, by the way, that was his 1,000th win in the NHL last night.
Oh, wow.
And he only joined, there's only been 2 other coaches, Joe Quenneville and Scotty Bowman, have more wins than him. He's the 3rd winningest coach ever in the history of the league. So, and the guy's a genius. And you know what, Ron? He has ice water through his veins. He's as cool as a cucumber. He doesn't let things bother him. And it transfers to the team as well, too. And one of the other things I want to talk about before we kind of wrap things up here is I know Paul Bissonnette. He's one of the analysts on NHL on TNT, and kind of think he's a real douchebag. But anyway, he said the big reason Florida is getting all these players is because, well, you don't have to pay a state income tax down in the state of Florida, okay? Well, turnabout was fair play because they had the commissioner of the NHL on the other night, Gary Bettman, and he said that's a non-issue. You know why it's a non-issue? Because when Florida and Tampa were lousy, you know, and nobody wanted to come down here, all right? We still had no income tax at that point in time. Now everybody wants to come down here now, all right? Well, guess what? Okay, it has nothing to do. Tampa has a great system in place. Florida has come up with their own system, which I like better than Tampa's, and it attracts the great players who want to play in that system, and it works really well. So that's the long and the short of that. So, any other thoughts, Ron?
No, just that it sounds like it's going to be a big game because if you go up 3-1 Thursday night, that's going to be hard for the Edmonton Blues to come back for. I think in the NBA, is it tied in the NBA 1-1? It's
the Pacers and the Thunder.
Thunder, yeah. I believe it's 1-1, right?
Right. The Panthers last year were up 3-1 against Edmonton. Then they lost 3 in a row or 2 in a row to them, and it got 3-3. And then they had forced a game 7 back in Florida, which they won 2-1 when they won the cup.
Well, that made the owners. That made the owners in the league happy. All that extra revenue.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping this year if they go up 3-1, that they just end it up when they go up to Edmonton on Saturday. I know it's not an easy place to win, but that game 2 was one of the best games I think I've ever seen. It went to double overtime, and Brad Marchand, who used to play for the Boston Bruins, scored the goal in double overtime that game, which was absolutely insane. So
now, who does it look like they're going to be playing from the Western Conference?
Okay, well, Edmonton is in the Western Conference.
We're already, sorry. We're already at the finals. I got thrown off by somebody in the chat talking about Bobby Orr being the best. Well, we're going way back for Bobby Orr, huh?
Yeah, I actually got to see him play. That's how far.
Oh, wow.
That's how old I am.
Wow.
I got to see a lot of the greats play. So.
I was telling somebody, not on person, but TV one time. I saw a game. I saw Bobby Hall and Gordie Howe in the same game when Gordie Howe came out of retirement and played for the World Hockey League.
I did see Gordie Howe play. I did see Bobby Hall play. I did see Bobby Orr play. It was, Ron, I could get seats as a kid. If you were under 18, you get $5 seats to go to the Civic Arena and watch the Penguins back in the day, back in the 70s. And I got to see all these great players play.
You probably saw Bobby Clark then too. From
saw Bobby Clark as well too, and Dave the Hammer Schultz.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I said there's all your penalties. Dave the Hammer. Well, he was a good penalty killer too, but he also caused most of the penalties.
Well, the Penguins at one time they traded and they got Dave Schultz on the Penguins, but they also had Bob Battleship Kelly as well too.
Oh boy. Okay. So they had a couple goons out there.
Yeah. Well, they would play before the games, and it was the first song I've ever heard in an arena for a hockey game. They played the original recording of Elton John's "Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting." It was a classic. So, well, that's it, guys. That's all we have for tonight. Thank you guys for stopping by, and bonus points for all of you that are cheering on for the Panthers. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Take care. It's always a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.